All right, we're back.
We are back. We are back. So we're going to do our best to get through the last 4 chapters of The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown.
Yes.
And we're going to do our best to make this something that not just speeding through it, but a helpful conversation around the first part of the book was really about what we let go of.
Yes.
It's letting go of and cultivating. This is really a conversation about really focusing on that wholehearted living portion.
Mm-hmm. It was, because we talked about perfectionism, comparison, people pleasing, fear, shame, and the pressure to prove ourselves in the beginning of the book. And we kind of learned how to set those things down and what's the opposite of those things. And the last ones, we're going to kind of really dive into that wholehearted living.
So, if we are going through the last 4, the first one that we're going to walk into is cultivating creativity. We're going to jump right into it because, and we kind of give intros a lot of times, but we do have a lot of ground to cover because
Yeah.
we do want to move on to the next
Yes.
topic, and we want to keep building this community and
Mm-hmm.
conversation around these. So, um, cultivating creativity and letting go of comparisons. So we build up creativity, letting go of comparisons, and the main idea is that creativity is not just meant for the artist,
Yeah.
because that word often trips people up.
It does. You think about, in the traditional sense of artist, we think about sculptors, painters, people that create beautiful things that we look at, even florists, that maybe put together a flower arrangement, people who sing, play an instrument.
Sure.
We see those as true artists. And you had looked into finding some information about the feminine and masculinity and how it's not really tied to the sex that you
Right.
are.
So there's a masculine archetype and there's a feminine archetype when it comes to the word art or artistry. And from the masculine archetype, a lot of times I feel like when art is talked about and when we hear like get creative, men, if you're watching this, you're like, I'm out, right? Like either turn this off or or
We're,
move
we're not
past it.
painting by numbers and we're
Yeah,
not
I'm not. Yeah,
scrapbooking.
like you're
Right.
drug along for that. Like you get the booze and the
The date
painting.
night.
Yeah, the date
Yeah.
night. That was something you got drug along for, and it wasn't something that was like making your heart sing. And maybe there's a male and I'm speaking just from the male perspective. Maybe there's a male that's like, I love doing that stuff, but I'm embarrassed and it makes me feel bad or I'm shamed by it or I have biases around that or I was raised that that's girly or that's
Hmm.
like a feminine thing. We don't do that. And in the deep South, we're in the deep South. There's a lot of those biases that are present for people. So we looked into that. It's an archetype. It's an archetype in each person.
Yes.
Each person possesses these archetypes within yourself. And you have to be honest about that. That
Yes.
just because you use one type or one archetype, it does not mean that that is your primary identification.
Right.
It is meaning that that is a part of the balance of who you are, the yin and the yang,
Yes.
the
Because
wholeness of who you are.
we're actually opposite,
We
right?
are, we are.
I 100% have more of the structure, the building, when it comes to my creative
So the
side.
masculine side is all about building. The
Mm-hmm.
masculine archetype is all about building, and the feminine archetype is all about feeling.
Yes.
So talk about yours.
I'm definitely more structure,
Yeah.
like boundaries, like building, like every time we say, oh, what if we did, or like we have this big dream of having this, a property for
Right.
people to come to have a safe space for aged out foster kids and for, pregnant
Sure.
teenagers. And we have like this big vision of 20 acres where people can come and learn and live and be and thrive.
Yeah.
But in my brain, like I have to see it on paper. So like I have created the whole
The
sketch of
layout.
it, the
Yeah. Yeah.
layout, like
Sure.
how it would work, how the business would need to work. I would need to finish and be able to be the medical provider there. You would need to be the counselor there. We need a garden. We need all the things. Like, how do we make it real?
Yeah.
So that
There's
is kind
actually a
of,
plan. There's
there
actually a
actually
visual
is a
plan.
visual
Yeah.
plan.
It's
There
pretty
is.
crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's pretty great because, and again, going back to that conversation, you are extremely feminine with me. Like as my wife, you are a passenger princess now. There's things that you
No, you
develop.
made me a passion
I did,
princess.
but
Let's
you
be
definitely,
honest.
I mean, you definitely have
I,
leaned into just being very feminine, very soft, very, very, the types around like even being, even allowing yourself to flourish in that feminine side of yourself intimately. And we would say that word intimate. We're not talking about just being. I have a lot more energy when we don't do this at night. Um, at
not at 2 in the
yeah,
morning.
after we get off work. But around that feminine development
Yeah.
of being in that intimate space and being able to express yourself.
Hmm.
But when it comes to creativity, not but and when it comes to creativity, you have more strength in the masculine
Hmm.
archetype energy around building.
Yes.
And so men or women who are listening to this and you get really excited about making a checklist,
Hmm.
that's being creative. We think creativity has to fit into this small little box.
It doesn't.
We think it has to fit this little these parameters, and if it doesn't, then it's not creative
Right.
because we fill our algorithms with all this cool stuff, and we're like, oh my gosh, they're so good at this thing, and I'm never going to be that
Yeah.
person. So, um,
And then for
talk about your energy a little bit more. What creativity building? What do you like about that part?
well, I like the structure of building something. I like the being able to see things come from point A to point B. That's really big for me. Watching the checklist come to life, and there's actually something you
Yeah,
can touch, tangible. The journals that we wrote, the book that I'm writing now, like those are things that are they're being creative in my sense, where I don't sing, I don't play an instrument.
sure.
Those are just not my giftings. Now I do want to go throw clay, but I think because again, that's building something. I want
Sure.
to make something that I can touch that's
Yeah.
tangible.
And for all those individuals that are like they lean into that archetype of building, don't be and let's even take off the male masculine feminine so that way we don't get stuck in those biases
Right.
in this conversation around creativity, energy,
Because you're definitely
move
more feeling
and
feminine. You play an instrument, you
right.
like
I grew up like in the church I grew up in, everyone got involved in music. Everybody got involved in music because we had so many services and we built like these rosters of musicians and everyone played an instrument. Everybody sang. Like you didn't get an option. It wasn't an option. If you were attending church, you were expected to be in the choir. You were expected to, uh, there was an expectation of like playing something, of like being comfortable in front of people presenting something, whether that was singing or playing an instrument or speaking, whatever. So I developed those skills early on, and it definitely fills me up. It definitely makes me feel that creative energy, and I want those people that they they build, and whether it's an engine or a budget, and they feel that energy. Don't discount that and be like, well, it's just because I feel more calm. No, that's actually creativity. You're
yeah.
actually like building something around that. Three things that Dr. Brown talks about in creativity. People often say, I'm not very creative. That isn't true. There's only two types of people who use their creativity and people who do not. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Number two, uh, what is the only unique contribution that we will make in this world is built or born out of our creativity.
Hmm.
She talks a little bit about her journey
She
from,
does. She talks about it, which I thought was really cool because we are in Louisiana
sure,
and I'm born and raised Louisiana girl. You're kind of an implant, but I was
yeah,
born and raised here. And we love New Orleans. We love the colors, the culture, the architect, the everything, the music, the food, right,
yeah,
in New Orleans. And she talks about how, as a child, her dad and her mom were in New Orleans, and her father was attending college in New Orleans and at Loyola, and how they lived in this colorful little place, and
Poor
very
by
by
standards,
standard, but it was very colorful, and doing all these arts and crafts and cooking food and doing all these
but it was a
things.
vibrant
It
life.
was a vibrant, colorful life. And then she
Poor
talks
rich
about,
life,
yes, but
which
right, the best kind. And then she talks about how once her father graduated from school, I think he was in law school,
yeah.
he graduated from school and they moved to Houston,
Mm,
and they moved into a big house that was not colorful,
yeah,
that was very bland and very beige. She
sure.
said she remembered going from color to beige. And I can, like, in my brain, I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see how and how it became comparison. Then they were keeping up with the Joneses basically in
right.
Houston because they had to have the right clothes and do all the things and keep up because dad was now graduated in corporate
And what a
America as a
bankrupt
lawyer.
culture that I mean, the culture of just chasing the dollar only, and that being the extent of our creativity, and
Hmm.
we almost put all those things away.
Yeah.
And I really love this. The last one is if we want to make meaning, we need to make art. And that art, again, can be from the creative
Either side.
building
Hmm.
architect or the creative feeling architect.
Hmm.
Archetype, I'm sorry, archetype from either side, from feeling or building, can be either one, but just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Whether that's cooking or building an engine
Writing story.
or writing a story or singing or acting, whatever that might be, um, that is creativity.
That is creativity.
Yeah,
Well, and she talks about, I may be jumping a little ahead, but she
it's
does
okay.
talk about in the next chapter, I think, about how she did not do those things with her children.
Yeah.
That the comparison rat race is not something that she's chosen to do. That her kids are allowed to participate in one thing and one thing only. Like they don't do, five different language and sports and trying to build a resume for colleges and doing all these things because they felt that it left no room for creativity and play. It left no room for them to be a kid
Well, it's
and
like
not be.
we want this width of all the things that we check the boxes, but we
Mhm.
don't have a lot of depth, and it leads to kind of a bankrupt
It's
lifestyle.
very shallow.
Yeah.
It becomes like it
I'm very
becomes
grateful.
you're in the shallow pool like always, instead of having real meaning and understanding. And I think that it's really hard to find yourself in a shallow pool. It's hard to
I think
find
it's
who you
easy.
are.
Well, I think it's easier to become other things that aren't you in a shallow place. I think the deeper the pool, the harder it is to be drug into keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're swimming in the deep end.
Hmm.
When you're in that place of going deep on finding things that make your soul really like, and again, like if the archetype is like building an engine, man, lean into that.
Right.
If you can't afford, and again, we get so wrapped up in money. We get so wrapped up in comparison of money. It's like, well, I can't buy an engine right now. I can't buy my dream car.
Right.
Can you buy a lawnmower? A lawnmower that needs an
Or
engine
can you
rebuilt?
can you join a club that rebuilds
Or
engines? Like
absolutely.
there's
Or
groups of
you're
people
like,
out there that do all.
well, I love music, but I don't play an instrument. Well, can you start
Yeah.
playing a recorder? Like
Right.
it doesn't have to be a
Right.
piano right off the bat. It doesn't
Right.
have to be, uh, you know, and now technology is linking you where you can literally have a music teacher
At your
accessible to you
fingertips
at your
all the
fingertips.
time.
But there's so many opportunities. But that's a big one. And you talked about comparison, and this quote is, without comparison, concepts like ahead and behind or best and worst lose their meaning when
Hmm.
it comes to creativity. Because we often don't lean into our creativity because we're like, well, I'm behind everybody,
Yeah.
or how can I get ahead? We think of it in terms of how do I turn this creativity into something of monetary. We think of best or worst instead of this is what brings me joy and makes me alive.
Yeah.
It brings up a spiritual component of my life. So that's a really big deal. On to the next one.
Yeah,
We're,
cultivating rest and play is
yes.
the next one. And our culture treats exhaustion like a badge of honor. Brené reminds us that our worth isn't measured by our productivity, which I think is huge because that's one of the things I just spoke about the kids and about how she was like, nope,
Yeah.
we're not doing this. And one of the things that her and her husband did, which I think that if a lot of people did this, we might realign what we really want. Made a list of their wants and desires and the things that they want, right? And then made a list of the wholehearted living that they want to have. So, in order to have all these wants, like if you want a vacation home and an RV and a brand new da 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 da, whatever
Sure.
the want is, right?
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with having wants, but whatever the wants are. And then you have to calculate what is the time and the effort and the money that it's going to take to achieve these wants. And
Yeah.
then look at your heart's desire on wholehearted living and joy and peace and time and creativity and
Sure.
all those things and see which bucket weighs more and
Yeah.
see what things on the want list you can quickly mark off because it doesn't align with the wholehearted living. Because in order to have wholehearted living, you have to have time off and you have to have time to be creative and joyful and play and rest. But in order to do the want list, you would have to work to your 95 and,
Yeah,
not have.
I think that the Mustang right now, it definitely hits that spot for me
Mm-hmm.
because there is that point, I am in school, back in school. We're both in college.
Yeah.
That brings on, we have certain responsibilities for our family and certain added responsibilities right now that are stretching us.
Yeah.
And there's that added, like I drive a paid off vehicle and it's kind of having some AC problems right now. We live in the deep south
And it's
and
hot.
it's hot
It's
and
hot.
we have a very nice family vehicle and my car is great to get me from point A to point V. It has amazing gas mileage.
Yeah.
Uh,
But driving to New Orleans, that's an hour and a half
sure.
away
And
in 100-degree weather
there's a real want
is,
there
yeah, for sure.
and the want is, do I want to add $55,000, $60,000 to our
Debt.
baseline
Yeah.
of what our debt is because I want something.
Yeah.
Because and after I get it, after that first month
Yeah.
of driving it, when that first payment comes, it's no longer going to have the joy that it had.
Right.
And I'm not going to be able to go back to the dealership and say, you know what,
I changed
I
my
changed my
mind.
mind. You guys could have this back. I mean, I could, but I'm going to take a humongous hit
Yeah.
and all the things. So if we can, sometimes life is almost like throwing us those impulse buys because we're constantly being inundated with
Right.
keeping up and keeping up and keeping up. Like we have to have a bigger house, we have
Yeah.
to have another vehicle, we have to have, and it's not just a vehicle that helps us get from point A to point B. We have to have the nicest and the greatest. And we went and test drove a vehicle the other day, and then we looked at the price tag because we're looking at further down the road and maybe aligning. And I was like, what are we
What are we
what are we
doing?
doing?
Get out of here.
What are we doing? Like, go home, get in your car that is great for what you need right
Yeah.
now. And that's another car that has air conditioning.
Yeah.
But like, do the things that you need to do now so that you can cultivate the life that you want to
Yeah.
live and
And
not the things that you want in the life that you think
But I
you want
think
to
for
live.
us, this is what I think, because when I was reading that portion in there about that, about play and finding the time and cultivating that time for
Right.
rest, for us, I think that you and I, with being in school and everything that we have going on, and now we have another adult kid living
Sure.
here, we have a lot of things happening and sickness and all the things. But we have been in such a pressure cooker for almost a year and a half now, with us being in school
Yeah.
and trying to get some debt dealt with and get things dealt with, so that once we come out of this season,
Sure.
that we can say, oh, like we are so excited to not work weekend nights. Like this
Yeah.
is like the biggest deal. We're like, people like, what are you doing after graduate? No idea. Just know I'm not working weekend nights anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the number one, just to be able to
Well,
do
we want
things
to
like a normal
cultivate,
thing.
we want to cultivate more meaningful relationships. And like schedule is a big deal. Like if you're
It
always
is.
off when everyone else is working, it's impossible
Yeah,
to cultivate just normal like
it
faith
is.
communities and friendships and
For sure. Like
things along those
for us
lines.
to go, you have to get off in
I
time
have to get
to
off
make it back.
early.
You have
I
to
have
get
to get
off
off
early
early.
to make it back in time to go to
Somebody
a
needs to have
service.
Sunday night church. I'm
Yes,
just saying, we
Sunday
need to
night
go
church
back to
would be
old school.
great
Yeah, yeah.
because
Change
we
your
don't
whole life, all your volunteers for me and Angelica, that
because we don't come to
we want
church.
30 plus people to say, you know what, I don't want anything to do on Sunday except create this
I
room.
know.
But it is truth in the
But
season that we're in. It's hard. And here's the lie that we get tied up into is that we believe often that busyness means valuable, and
yeah,
that's not necessarily the
not the
case
same thing.
because a hamster on a wheel ain't doing much, ain't going nowhere.
No,
You know,
but it's busy.
it's exerting its energy,
All the energy.
and I think a lot of times we fill our lives with a bunch of stuff that we think is super important. And what this season has taught me is there's very little things
Hmm.
that I do that are, we will elevate things of importance that do not matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And just being busy and filling our life, like I've also realized we have an infinite amount of time
Hmm.
that we think that we possess,
Mm.
and but we really have a finite. It's a very small.
It
We
is.
we have a plate that we can only fit so much on, and until we're able to kind of move some of those things out, we talked about this, our garage situation. We literally held on to a whole set of furniture,
Hmm.
uh, like two beds, and filled our garage completely full where we couldn't even, we do have talk about our vehicles, we do have a nice vehicle, and we were filling this garage waiting for this stuff to be used that was totally not being used. It was
And it really wasn't
suffocating our
great.
space.
Yeah.
It needed to be gone, and we didn't have, we could pay someone to come do it, or there was a pickup situation, and we just slowly started moving some things out.
Hmm.
And over time, we got on the schedule that got them picked up, got
Yeah.
it taken care of.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight, but it happened, and we were able to move from point A to point B, and now we have a extremely usable space,
Yeah.
empty, uncluttered, because we got intentional and realized we don't have another room to store this in. We don't,
Yeah.
is this something we're going to use? And if we're not using it, it's not bringing value to our life, we need to be willing to part with it
Yeah.
so that we can make space.
Hmm.
And that's the same in our life. We can't just keep living as if we have space and time that we don't possess.
For sure.
And that's a big one.
Well, another thing it says is how easy is it to believe that if I slow down, I'm falling behind.
Yeah,
So, and then it says the contrast with that is that God has the Sabbath.
sure.
He has a day of rest intentionally set aside
Right.
to rest and to reset. And I think that that's super important for us and for everyone to have that downtime, that you're not on that hamster wheel 24/7.
Well, I think one of the things that we don't do well, especially as adults and Americans, is play. Like,
Mm,
and Brené Brown says, do not Google adult play. Do
please.
not do it.
You're
What
going
we're
to get
speaking of, yeah, that's a whole
very
different conversation.
unusual
But
responses.
but one thing that we have to realize is that in our lives, we need that space to where we are just able to let go of the weights
Yeah.
and the responsibilities that we allow to become our demands in our mind, and
Hmm.
we allow ourselves just that freedom to breathe. And play is one of those ways we
For
do it.
sure.
I love this Dr. Stuart Brown. He is the director of the National Institute for Play. He is a psychiatrist, a clinical researcher. He says this, and I think it's a really, really powerful quote. The opposite of play is not work. the opposite of play is depression.
What? And I'm so not good at play.
You're not.
I'm not.
You're not.
I have my list of things that I need done to
Yeah.
feel like productive and justified.
Yeah.
And
But
that
how
comes
often do
from
you,
deep rooted
yeah, but how often do you feel
upbringing
exhausted?
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Now, like last night, we did choose at 11 o'clock
Sure.
to go
Spontaneous
see,
play.
yeah, to
Yeah.
go see the Odyssey,
Yep.
and not get out of it until 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
But it was a great movie.
Right.
Great movie. It was worth it. And we work nights so much that when there's something going on in the middle of the night, it kind of fits our circadian rhythm because we are sleeping during the day.
Right. We can't continue to live in that space of just chronic stressors, because if we don't break that rhythm through play, through just times where we just like let our hair down, so to speak,
Yeah.
and just allow ourselves that cultivation, we have a hard time turning it off. Like, we don't know how to turn the switch off. And play teaches us how to turn the switch off. And one thing that it really benefits is sleep. If we don't learn to play, if we don't learn that space to be able to turn it off for a little bit. I'm not saying, again, this is not telling you you don't have responsibilities, you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
but it is saying that, be like a kid, get
Yeah.
lost for, an hour doing something fun with your spouse, doing something, and it doesn't have to cost anything.
No.
Doing something fun with your kids. It's okay. It's all right. The schedule, if your schedule doesn't allow, like you're moving from point A to point B constantly, you have no space. There's no Sabbath. There's no space that you can just rest. Rest is super important.
It
Getting
is.
adequate sleep is super important.
And it's not earned.
It's not.
And that's something that I'm very difficultly learning, is that rest and sleep is not earned. It's something that everyone deserves innately just by being human and breathing.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. And learning, like, what the counter of that is, dealing with anxiety. It's dealing with, like, letting go of anxiety. And anxiety is rooted in fear, and we often respond to anxiety. I love this statement, by overfunctioning or underfunctioning. So our response to anxiety is underfunctioning or overfunctioning. And that's
definitely an over.
Yeah, for sure. A firefighter. Like, anxiety kicks in, so, like, how can I control, and we'll exhaust ourselves to the point of physical illness, and everything will still be there.
Right. Maybe.
We are not God. That's what we're trying to say.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next guidepost.
Oh, okay. We want to move on from that conversation.
We do. All right. Cultivating calm and stillness. So many of us have become so used to stress that peace actually feels uncomfortable.
Oof. Isn't
It
that
says
true?
calm is contagious.
Yep.
Our presence affects the people around us. Calm doesn't remove hard situations. It changes how we walk through them. So our personal conversation is prayer, the walks that we go on, driving home after work. I was talking to one of the girls at work, and they were like, what do you mean? And I said, well, sometimes when I get in the car and I'm coming home, like, I don't turn the radio on. I don't turn anything on. I just allow myself to drive home in the quiet.
Right.
So that I can have a little bit of time of just quiet and peace, so that I can reset before I change my hat. Because when you, especially in the medical field, and this is something that, I mean, guys, if you're nurses and caregivers, and I understand from a really deep place that you can have a really hard shift where people are very needy and you don't sit down and you don't be still, or you can have a shift where things don't go well and someone passes or someone is doing really bad, and it can hurt your heart. And you have to learn how to leave those hard things at work
Yeah.
and not bring them into your personal life, which can be very, very hard. And sometimes it spills over. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's really just a really difficult thing. You can have a patient that reminds you of a loved one or a family member, or a situation that you've been through, or it could just be that they've been there for a while and you've gotten super close with the family and with the patient. And then it
Sure.
becomes very hard when things go the wrong way.
Right.
And there's peace in passing. So don't get me wrong when I say, but it does touch you and affect you, and allowing yourself that time to breathe through it and find peace with that before you come into a bustling home of kids and husband and pets and all the responsibilities that home carries, because it's a different venue of responsibility than work is.
Yeah.
So it's learning how to change the hat. It's learning how to find that peaceful place and be able to transfer over into a different role calmly. Huh?
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Sorry, that's our reminder for school. Um, but not to like go too far back in our past conversations, but it is a big differentiation between being a peacekeeper
Mm-hmm.
and a peacemaker.
Yeah.
And we're called in the Beatitudes to be peacemakers,
Yes.
and that is a proactive um, state that we have to create peace.
Mm-hmm.
Peace is not an automatic, it is something that we cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, there's often times where you're like, hey, I just need to go for a run. Exercise is a great opportunity for you to kind of clear. You burn off all those
All the negative.
extra. I used this analogy with my kids the other day. It's like burning off all the toxicity, and then your body has the ability to kind of re-up on really, really healthy, positive.
Mm-hmm.
So it fills up the
And
tank with the good
literally,
fuel.
literally, physically, from a medical standpoint, from a scientific standpoint, when you run, you are literally burning cortisol, which is a negative inflammation hormone that your
Right.
body releases when you're anxious, when you're stressed, when you're tired, when you're angry. Cortisol gets or released. It's that fight or flight. So your cortisol levels are really, really high when you're really stressed out and
Yeah.
all those things are happening. Exercising is one of those things that will allow you to burn that cortisol off, and then your body releases dopamine, which
Right.
is your happy juice, right?
Right.
Your dopamine and your serotonin go up. So you literally are burning the negative away and allowing the positive to fill that space.
Yeah.
Meditation, like really deep meditation, can do the same
Sure.
for people who can't exercise, like can't go and like physically exert themselves. But if you can sit in a meditative state for 10 minutes,
Sure.
which is super hard,
And
by
for
the
all of
way,
our Christian friends, we'll just call it a prayerful
prayer,
state.
right? A prayerful state, but it's just sitting
But be quiet.
quiet,
Can you cultivate quiet?
quiet.
And this is a crazy thing that especially Christians, I don't understand why we got this all twisted up. But we think that prayer and a prayerful state has to be this constant state of noise.
Mm-mm.
Like I grew up and just the more spiritual you were, the more words that you used while you were
Christianese,
praying.
the
Yes.
Christianese. Do we
Well, you
speak
just
Christianese?
yeah. It really became like a contest of how flowery, and I would sit there and listen. Like we would have, this is going to be so obscured. Some people that the 4 people that watch us, you're gonna if you got this far, but you know that getting in like an old school Christian, we'd have pre-service prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and the men. This is how traditional I grew up. We had a men's prayer room and a women's prayer room, and the men would pray in a certain classroom.
Yeah.
The lights came on and the yawns
I
came
don't know
out.
what happened, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Um, but the men would go into their prayer room, and as a kid, teenager, I would remember catching myself just listening to these people, these men pray, and it was like, I'll never be spiritual. Because they were, I mean, like thou pontitatest before the Lord thy Goddeth, and it was everything out of behind it, and how greateth thou areth, and I was just like, what is happening? Everything was prayed in the King James. I was completely lost. Like, I'll never be spiritual. It'll never happen for me. And this is so crazy and contrary to spiritual practices.
Yeah.
In fact, the scriptures give us the way that the prophets heard the voice of God was typically in a still small voice.
Yeah.
When God chose to come to manifest himself on earth, it was through a babe in a manger.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this idea that we've got to impress this this thing that connects the cosmos with our words is so crazy to me.
I saw this video the
I
other
got off on
day.
a tangent
I
there,
know you
but
did, but
but
I
but
saw
it's
this
about
video.
peace. It's about
It is about
being
peace.
in a space of peace.
Listen, I saw this video the other day, and there was this guy, and he was mimicking what we do when we're praying,
Yeah,
right? And he's beating on the door.
sure, sure.
And God, right, in the video,
Yeah,
opens the door and says, "Why are you banging on the door? I'm right here. You don't have to scream and holler, and you
right,
don't have to
right.
bang. Just talk to me. Just talk to me. Just talk to me. And I don't keep things from you.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not trying to punish you. You don't have to impress me.
yeah.
Like, just talk to me." And I think that that's so true. And I learned that after Jordan passed,
Oh man.
was that God wasn't, I didn't have to impress him. I could just be still, I could cry, and I could just talk to him like he was my dad,
Mm,
right? Because he is our dad,
yeah.
right? It's not this big being that, needs all the thous,
Thous,
right?
these and thous.
These and thous. He doesn't need all of
He's
that.
not
He made
impressed.
us,
He's not
right.
impressed.
He made us to
Not
be who
impressed.
we are. Just
Stop.
talk.
Yeah, if
Just
imagine
talk.
if your spouse came in and started talking to you like
I
that, you'd
love
be
it,
like,
you.
yeah, like what is happening right
What?
now?
Did
Like,
you
yeah, like
feeling okay?
why did you start speaking to me like you are reading Shakespeare? Like
Right.
what is happening right now?
Right.
And this
I
is
know how you talk down the road.
this is I googled this really quickly because I wanted to get it right, but it reminds me of the story, and I love the stories of Scripture because wherever you are in your belief system, there's this story of the prophets of Baal in I think it's First or Second Kings. It's actually First Kings. The prophet of Baal they're representing, and it's this challenge like the God that answers by fire. He's going to be the real God. This real source of
Mm-hmm.
bringing people back to a spiritual awakening. And so Elijah is just this crazy old school prophet who's just like he's crazy. And he puts his challenge out there, and the prophets of Baal, they're dancing around and screaming and hollering and hooping, and they're cutting themselves and doing all this stuff. And he's like telling them, maybe your God's asleep, maybe he's away on a trip. He's literally like trash talking them while they're dancing around. They've exhausted themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And after it's all said and done, for hours and hours and hours, they rebuild the altar, which is such a beautiful typology. It's a beautiful metaphor. They rebuild the altar, and Elijah prays a 63-word prayer, and fire falls from heaven. I wanted to Google because exact 63 words. It's a beautiful prayer, but it reminds me of this idea that we have to do these grand things. We get so caught up and we got to do this grand thing like if I'm going to cultivate peace, I got to do all this crazy stuff. It's really not. It's really not. It's not all the things that you do. It's just simply doing something that grounds you in that peaceful state, that calm state that I'm not in control of everything. I don't have to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
I can surrender. So that's a really big deal.
Well, since we're on that thing, there was one thing that I Googled
Yeah.
because I wanted to understand. Because as we were wrapping up and we were kind of going over all the information, I was like, wow, like peace, joy, rest,
Yeah.
right? These are very familiar to a Christian because you're going to see them in the fruits of the Spirit, right?
Yeah.
And Paul talks about cultivating the fruits of the Spirit, and they have to grow, right? You have to
Right.
put them in the environment to grow. And Dr. Brené Brown talks about it aligns very closely in the wholehearted living to have
Yeah.
that peace, the joy, the stillness, the faithfulness, to find the good work, to find all of those things.
Sure.
so it really does line up. So I think that's why maybe this book really speaks to us, because it kind of, she's not talking about the fruits of the spirit. That's
Yeah.
not what her book is about, but she's giving legs to, I feel like, the fruits of the spirit,
Yeah.
like giving it an understanding for our day and time. And all of them aren't in there, but you can kind of correlate them. So I thought that that was really, really cool. But you don't, in the way that even she speaks about it. And if you go back and look at the way Paul spoke about it, Paul said that you're cultivating, right? You're developing basically these fruits that are given to you. And you were talking about how peace is not something that you have to do all these things in order to find and to get. It's there. You have
But
to,
you do have to cultivate it.
but
You have to practice it.
you have to practice, right? You have to practice. What does it mean to be at
Be a
peace and to be
peacemaker.
still?
Yes.
Right. And that's what this book is kind of telling you, is how do we take a lot of the things that we really want and how to live that wholehearted way, and how do you cultivate those and make them real in your life, and what are the negative things that will eat away at that
Yeah.
peace. Or like the whole depression is the opposite of play. That's huge.
Sure.
Like, think about that.
Yeah.
If you don't play, you're amped to be depressed. If you
Can't.
don't give
Yeah.
that space to have just playful time in your life,
Yeah.
whatever that play is for you, right?
Yeah.
So it's finding the same thing in a real way. So that's, I think, why this book really kind of spoke
I
to
think
me.
going back to that conversation on peace, we're afraid of stillness, and we're afraid of turning off, like why we're afraid to play, why we're afraid, because we're afraid in stillness that what's going to fill that.
Yeah.
Like when we haven't done the work, as soon as we're quiet for a second, every negative, every sorrowful, every troubling thought that we've been compartmentalizing,
Yeah.
everything that our old wiring is ready to download into us, all of a sudden gets an opportunity, and we can't be quiet. So what do? We pick up the phone instantly and
Yeah.
we start scrolling, so that
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with whatever that
Whatever
area,
it is.
whatever we're pointed to like, hey, we got to work on this internally, so I can be more at peace, and I can be more in a state of, I can play,
Yeah.
I can turn off.
The
Like,
noise.
you don't, as a caregiver, you will have empathy burnout. If you don't find that space, you will
100%.
burn out.
You will.
Not if, not maybe,
It will
you
happen.
will burn out. And everybody listening to this, maybe you're not a caregiver, but even if you are a cashier or a mechanic or a manager or whatever, you fill in the blank, if you don't find the spaces to calm yourself and find the spaces of turning off the responsibilities, you will burn out. If you can't learn to sing, laugh, and dance,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of jumping into our next stuff, if you don't cultivate that space, then you're going to burn out. It's not maybe, it's just when.
When.
It's a conversation of when. Somehow we got a little bit off on our descriptions, for sure, but cultivating meaningful work, and letting go of self-doubt and supposed to is a big deal.
Yes.
I want to read this before we go into the next one. This is 10, and then this is 9, and then 10. We have 10 on here, so we're a
Yeah.
little bit off. But this is the statement that was made: sharing your gifts and talents with the world is the most powerful source of connecting with God. I love that statement. You were just talking about cultivating the fruits of the Spirit, cultivating our unique gifts and talents with the world, and sharing them, cultivating them and then sharing them with the world is the most powerful connection with God. That part is amazing. And what is our biggest obstacle to that? It's self-doubt. It's what I
For
should be,
sure.
what I could be, what I blah 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 blah. And you told me that story where she was talking about, Dr. Brown was talking to the CPA that had uh, been making jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
and the jewelry, you remember this conversation?
Mm-mm.
So she made jewelry. She found her unique boutique, and she was selling at a farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
And she was asking her, because everybody asks, "What do you do?" Right? Like, what's your name? What's the second question to get to know
What do
somebody?
you
So
do?
what do you do? And so she was asking her, and she said, "Well, I'm a CPA." She said, "No, you're a jewelry maker. This is your shop. This is your No, I'm a CPA because I don't make money at being a jewelry maker.
Right.
I make money at being a CPA." And so
So being a CPA is
we
what's going to
only attach
impress.
worth to what can actually be made
Mm.
in monetary terms instead of what is the creative aspect. Like,
This,
right, right,
like this.
right.
This is 100% the journals that we've written,
Yeah,
the podcasts that we do, the shorts that we do,
yeah.
all the things that we put out is because we love helping other people through the same struggles that we have and are in. So this is our creative outlet to try to help the world be a better place.
So this is some thoughts, some of that old wiring that hits us when it comes to the process or the conversation around meaningful work
Mm-hmm.
and what's supposed to be. So this perfectionism, fitting in, people pleasing, these are the thoughts that come to us. You're supposed to care about making money, not about meaning.
Mm.
You're supposed to grow up and be blank, whatever that is, fill it in. Everyone's counting on it. You're supposed to hate your work. That's the definition of work.
Ah,
You're supposed to be brave. You're supposed to quit your job and follow your bliss and not worry about money. That's another one. That's the opposite end of the
opposite,
spectrum,
total end of.
right? You're supposed to choose work you love or work that supports the people that you love.
Mm.
Here's the real truth is you can absolutely do work that's necessary and you can do work that's meaningful. You may not be able to do work that's meaningful as long as you do work that's necessary. You may have to check out from your 9 to 5 and do your love project
Yeah.
for from
30 minutes to an
eight
hour
to
a day.
ten,
Yeah.
or 8 to 9.
Yeah.
But cultivate it in some way.
Yeah.
Do something with it. Let
Well,
it
and
be
that's one of the
something that you
things
don't
that
just let
we've
lie
told
dormant.
that you tell your girls and has spilled over into me telling my children is to do what you love.
Yeah.
Don't do,
In some aspect, you got to do it in some way, some
yeah,
aspect. You
do
got to
what you
have it a
love.
part of your life.
And like one of the children, she finally realized that she loved numbers, and now she's working with numbers, and
Yeah,
she's like, "This is the best job ever. I don't have to deal with people. I
yeah,
get to look at numbers all day and
sure,
listen to a podcast, and I'm living my best life,
sure.
right?" Where before she was waiting tables and was a barista and all the and miserable,
Yeah.
miserable having to deal with the general public on a continual basis, and now she's total turnaround, like
But
her
again,
mentality.
you cannot be in it for is this going to help my bottom line? Everything in your life cannot be
About
wholehearted
money.
living cannot just be about every second of my day is about turning and burning and making a profit.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then you're not living meaningful. You're not contributing to anything. You're not worshiping God in the way and what you do.
Yeah. It says meaningful work isn't about having the perfect career. It's about living in a way that reflects your values and that the people that you're called to serve. That
Again, and that might be once a week. You
yeah.
may be able to do what you absolutely love once a week, and it may grow and it may become, but it's going to let that cultivate, let it be a part of your identity,
Yeah.
not separate.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and she uses really strong language around what we identify as cancer and those gifts and talents and abilities, if we don't use them, they don't just lie there dormant. They become toxic. They turn into anger and frustration and
Mm-hmm.
fear and shame. Um, they pour out of us, but they pour out of us in a way that's extremely negative.
Yeah.
If we're not cultivating them and giving them back
Mm-hmm.
as an act of worship, then we are in danger. So, all right, we got to hurry up because we are way way in the weeds. All right, so last chapter, last guidepost
Mm-hmm.
is cultivating laughter, song, dance,
Hmm.
and letting go of being cool and always in control.
So joy isn't something we save for when life finally gets better.
Yeah,
Wholehearted people don't wait for the perfect circumstance before they laugh, celebrate, worship, or enjoy the people around them. So we tend to, when we're cooking, turn music on,
yeah.
and just make it it's a chore. We have to feed the family, right? Like for me, it's a chore. Let me back that up. For me, it's a chore. For you, it is
It's
definitely one
art.
of your love
Yeah,
languages and one
it's
of your
cultivate.
arts.
I
You love
enjoy
it.
it.
You love cooking.
I enjoy bringing ingredients together. I don't use, for the most part, we'll use an idea of a recipe, but I want to kind of discover that flavor. Like I enjoy that,
Yeah.
and I enjoy building that.
But we play music.
Yeah.
It becomes a family affair. Like
Hmm.
whoever is home comes and, hey, what can I do? And
They
someone will
want to
chop
sit. Yeah,
something. Someone will,
they feel odd if we say we're going to sit down and watch a movie and
oh
eat dinner.
man,
They're like, "What?
the 14-year-old
We
we're
got to go
sitting
to
at
the
the
table.
table,
Yeah,
aren't we?
we're going
Sitting
to
at
the
the table
table.
because we talk.
Yeah,
When we come
yeah.
and sit at the table,
We're
it's
going to
our
listen to
time to
music. We're going to, yeah,
download the day, like talk about something silly we saw, like what's happening, how we're doing.
yeah,
It gives everybody a chance to connect.
yep.
And I think that they really miss that on the weekends when we're working.
Hmm.
Like they become, I say, uh, leftover kids, right? Like we'll have meal preps and their
Sure.
meals prepared, but they're in the fridge and they have to kind of microwave them and feed themselves. And they don't like that
Right.
at all. The other things, it says church worship. So our worship is kind of really here for us in the living room. We'll turn on music and just kind of spend time.
Well, one thing that she talks a lot about is the spiritual aspects, the connections of spiritual aspects, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is spiritual. But it's especially spiritual when we learn to laugh, sing, and dance.
Mm-hmm.
Those are spiritual
They are.
actions, and they're emotional,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also spiritual connections.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about this, whether it's you said at church, it's amazing when a group of people all sing together. There's something that happens on a spiritual level, an intellectual level, a physical level, like
A connection.
a connection that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about that and you say, well, I'm not a spiritual person, whatever. Hey, go to your favorite college football game
Yeah.
and you all sing the same song.
Yep.
You know, I'm not a
Chant,
big,
cheer.
yeah, I'm not a big
Yeah.
like country music guy, but man, Friday night or Saturday night in Death Valley, and everybody starts singing "Callin' Baton Rouge."
Yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a thing.
you
You
can get
feel
you
the
can get choked
connection.
up. You can
Yeah.
get choked up because all of a sudden it's a
Well,
connection
people do
that's
the same
happening,
thing when you're in the car
and we
and
don't have enough of
you're
it.
screaming and singing Adele or whatever your
Yeah,
anthem, song
my
might be.
kids think about, like we spent $8,000, on a vacation, like a crazy vacation.
Yeah.
And the one thing that they talk about the most is us like singing at the top of our lungs
Mm-hmm.
on like in between the parks and in between all the things. Like that's what they remember
Yeah.
was that moment. And like cultivating more of that in our lives is
Mm-hmm.
it's not less, it's more.
For
And then
sure.
talking about like letting go of like being cool and having it all together, dancing. Dancing is another one. Dancing is
It's so fun.
everybody thinks you got to know how to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Just move. Just
Yeah.
I
Oh, when the grandbabies come, the grandbabies are always, let's have a dance party.
yeah.
Like they love that. They think it is hilarious to see us dance with them and run around with them and jump up and down.
Yeah.
And they think the grandbabies, that is definitely a memory for them. And I don't even know when that started, but it only happens here when they're with us. They're
They
like, let's have a
also
dance party.
well they also like as they get older, they get like more self-conscious and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, that's not cool anymore." And then we carry that into adulthood and we don't here's one reason why we don't dance is because we're ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
We're embarrassed. we're embarrassed.
We feel like you don't know the right steps, or you're going to look
Well,
stupid, or you're going to look silly, or
sure.
someone's
And
going
if
to laugh at
everybody's
you, or you're going to
yeah,
be,
if everybody is doing a synchronized dance, sure.
yeah.
But if for the most part it's going to be open dancing, I'm not saying you got to like dance like Michael Jackson in front of everyone, but don't be afraid to get out there and let the
And
music
shake a
move
little
you and
bit.
shake a
Yeah.
little bit and have
I
fun.
will say, remember in Colorado when we went to that concert in Red
Yes.
Rock. I will say that in Colorado was probably the most free dancing I've ever seen people be. There wasn't a specific way or whatever. Like everyone literally moved to the beat of their own drum and just moved.
Yeah.
And there was no right or wrong. It was like a whole different thing. And then when we came back to Louisiana, we were at a music festival downtown and we saw a couple and they were from Colorado. And I said, y'all have to be from Colorado just the way you dance. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you can just tell. Like it's a whole different freedom
It's a
of,
culture.
yeah. And she was
It's a
like,
culture that
absolutely.
embraces music and that,
Individualism.
yeah. And what I would suggest is, and I heard the quote, and I'm gonna find it, but it was somebody speaking to embarrassment, and it's an underexplored emotion because there's something really powerful on the other side of embarrassment. Like if we'll embrace embarrassment not as a negative, but like explore that space. Why are we embarrassed? Like it's a fear-based
Yeah.
emotion or a fear-based thought.
Thought for sure.
Embarrassment. Ooh, what if they judge me? Ooh, I'm not cool. Ooh, I'm whatever. And explore that, and don't make yourself have to get drunk and crap faced
In order to
so
do
you can
things.
so that you won't even remember them.
Right.
When you're doing that intoxicated means that you
You have it
inside you
inside.
want to.
Yeah.
You want to. You just been suppressing it. What a terrible way to live your life.
100%.
Suppressed the entire time. It's a terrible way to live.
It is a
It's
terrible
a
way.
terrible way to live. I love this quote. The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you're sharing with someone when you're uncool.
Oh, that is really cool. Who said that?
It's from Almost Famous.
Oh,
Yep.
that's very cool.
Yep.
I like that.
Stop being cool and always in control. Because guess what? You're not. You're not. You're not. I'm not as cool as I think I am. I'm
Yeah.
not as in control as I think I am.
So this is our second book.
Yes.
So we finished the Let It Go.
Right.
And that was all about burning away the old wood. I kind of felt like it was a
Yeah.
lot about letting go of disappointment and hurt and expectations and let it go. And I feel like this book, I kind of thought it was going to be more of a transformational book. And I feel like it just is more of a finding yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
It's starting that path
Yeah.
of wholehearted living.
Yeah, it's not a, I feel like some self-help books you can read them and I say self-help, but this is, I guess, not really what this is, but things that fall in this kind of genre of books, right? The Let It Go, I thought was all going to be about blaming everyone else, and it turned
Sure.
out to be more about letting go of the things that are inside of you, not letting go of people and
It's
situations.
crazy. The healthier you get, the more you're like, I can't even allow the people, places, and things that have hurt me and caused me harm.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even allow that to be a part of my new wiring.
Right. For
Like
sure.
you can change who you are, the essence, the thoughts that you can. Every day that you wake up, you have an opportunity today to be anew. Like that's just the truth.
Yeah.
We choose oftentimes by our not choosing. We are choosing to live the life we are living continuously by not taking any other action.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sobering idea.
So it's just remembering that for us, it's connection over performance and grace over shame.
Yeah.
Our hope is that you've walked through these with us in the last two books that we've done, and that it's given you food for thought. We're not claiming to have any answers or any magic potion or
Yeah.
magic, just do one, two, three, and it's going to make it all
Yeah.
better. But just conversations that you can have with yourselves and with people that you love that can help cultivate the life that you really want to live.
I love that. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Please do comment, share, and like. Follow along. We would love that as we continue to build this community.
Absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.